out to you. It's the girl that makes you happy and it's the girl that makes you blue.
Hey, welcome. Little Bette Midler there to kick us off. Welcome to the 3-day challenge. And it's all about you. It's all about you to celebrate. And so we are going to take the next 3 days to walk through a couple of different formats that are designed just to take a look at you specifically. And it's up to you how you're going to answer questions and what the next action steps are that you want to take. But it's just to get us started because what a year it has been. Oh my gosh. This has been a year where I am pretty sure not a lot of us took the time to really act on those things that are important to us. I do think we probably reflected, but I also think it just turned us upside down. And yeah, we probably got creative and found some really cool ways to handle what's going on around us. And I also want to be able to give us the time and offer the energy for us to just funnel all that we learned and all that we know and put it into 3 days of just looking at ourselves and prioritizing ourselves and celebrating you. So with that, I want to make sure of a couple of things. Obviously, you found this if you were able to download it and now you're watching me. But I do want to make sure that you have the workbook downloaded and perhaps you even printed it off because we are going to be walking through that workbook. That's going to be kind of our guiding force, if you will, in terms of answering questions. And then the other thing is to pay attention that every day I will download the next set of videos so that you can take a look at what it is you need to be following along. With this particular video, we're going to talk a lot about happiness and what makes us happy and how can we be our best selves with that. So if you need a minute to get a pencil and some paper, just hit pause and I'll be here when you get back. All right. Well, as we talked about earlier, this is to celebrate you and to bring some shining light on just all those things that are important to you, to get some clarity about what you can do to take care of yourself and prioritize yourself. So the first thing I want to mention is it is about perspective, right? It's how we look at different situations and what lens we choose to bring when we are looking at life and what's happening around us. For some of us, we believe that life is happening to us and we have no control. And it's really actually quite the opposite. Yeah, things are going to happen, but we have all the capabilities and all the skill sets we need inside of us to handle how we're going to react to those things. So that's the challenge, isn't it? Is to take the ownership and to really, really believe that we are capable of having the best reaction, even in an adverse situation. So many of us watching this today, you can attest, you've been through the ringer. You might be still going through the ringer. And I would offer that you probably have also learned that if you switch your lens and you take out the lens of gratitude and the lens of happiness and really make that commitment that you're going to look at things differently, it changes things. It just does. And for that, aren't we grateful? And for that, aren't we happy? So let's start to take a look at how, if we decide to stay in a negative place, for example, if our life is sort of centered and been focused on only negativity, and we spend a great deal of time really just pouring through things to find out what's wrong with it or what's wrong with me, maybe we're asking, or maybe we say what's wrong with everybody else. If we are reacting in a negative way, it starts to wire ourselves to be that negative person. And unfortunately, for a lot of us, this last year has really challenged us to stay and remain positive because honestly, there's been a lot of things thrown at us. Everything from COVID to murder hornets to the election and separating us as a country and people. I mean, it just really kept going from bad to worse as far as I'm concerned. And now we have a whole new variant with our COVID. So enough with the negativity. You know what's going on. I know what's going on. But we need to start focusing on how can we handle those things so it doesn't impact us, or it impacts us in the least negative way possible. How's that? So what I want to make sure you understand is that if you live a life of negativity, it really does impact your health, your physical health, not to mention your mental health and your spirit. But I will say that physically, when we intake a lot of negativity, whether that's through social media, whether that's through the people we hang with, whether that's just the way we choose to look at certain situations, we create that energy within ourselves to become that negative person. And honestly, it's not really fun to hang out with us when we're in those places and spaces. I don't want to tell you this, but you might want to look around and see how many people are clamoring to try to get your perspective, especially if they know that it's probably going to be negative. Being around negative Nancy's is not easy. For those of us who are trying to make changes in our life, we are really understanding the importance of starting to see things from a different perspective. So instead of trying to always see things through that lens of negativity, what if we started to look at things not as a Pollyanna and like everything is great? Oh, no, it's awesome, because it isn't. It really isn't. There's a lot going on, as we said, that really isn't that positive. But rather, what if we started to make a concerted effort to say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to start to look at this in a way that isn't so harmful to myself and to others. I'm going to start to decide if this is actually A, something I even want to spend some time wondering and contemplating about, or B, if this is really the energy that I want to give to this particular topic. Do I have other ways I can expend my energies, or other things I could maybe be putting my time, energy, and desire towards that will in return fill me up, create a better place in myself and outside and inside, and also to help create that happiness that I really am seeking. Now, I want you to think about that, because that puts the ownership on ourselves, which is tricky because it's so much easier to blame other people. Honestly, it is so much easier to blame situations, circumstances, people, you name it. And I'd prefer to do that, if you want to know the truth. I'd much prefer to blame others for how I might feel negative or bad or sad. You fill in the blank. But the truth is, that's on me, and I got to own it, and I got to decide what I'm going to do with it. And I think we all have that capability. Now, it takes practice, because remember, we've been doing some other things for a really long time to get us to this place where maybe we're struggling with our positivity and our happiness quotient. Maybe we have just some days given up the towel, or thrown in the towel and given up and just said, you know what, I don't have the energy to fight this. Well, that's good, actually. I don't want you to be fighting all the time. I think those words are really powerful and important. So let's not fight anymore, but let's decide what it is we're going to spend our energy on, what it is we're going to put our time towards, and how are we going to make changes in our lives so we are affected with positivity and our happiness meter goes up. Okay. And I can't think of a better time than the beginning of a year, with some hopes and some dreams and all those things that come along. And yes, we're still dealing with some aftermath of a lot of stuff that's going on, but I do think and feel that we're able to move forward. And I hope you feel that as well. So remember, if we start to look at life through a different lens, it just might be what we need to do, because we've been looking at life, through a lens of despair, of angst, of negativity, of what if. And what if has never been, what if this is the greatest thing that ever happened to me? Da, da. No, we look at things as what if, and then you fill in the blank for all the negative things that you think could potentially happen as an outcome. Unfortunately, we are worst outcome thinkers, aren't we? We never think, what if I get the job that I applied for? It's probably more, what if I make a fool of myself? What if I don't know the answers? Oh, they're probably not going to hire me anyways because I don't have this, or this skill. We set ourselves up to give that energy. And that's the challenge, because some days are easier than others to say, I got this. But I really think we do have this. I really do. So give yourself a little challenge today. When you find yourself in a situation where you're tempted to go negative, quickly reverse it, start over, and start to see a situation with an outcome that when you say what if, it has a good, happy ending. So stop, have a do over, say it again, think it again, or do it again. And just get yourself in a mindset of rewiring how it is you're starting to see things and how you're starting to think about things and how you're starting to react about things. So I think we have to first and foremost give ourselves permission to feel whatever it is we're feeling. So this isn't about taking away your feelings. Honestly, it's not. Because there are some things that make us sad and feel despair and to feel angst. I mean, they are happening. And so this isn't, again, about reacting in a Pollyanna way. This is about trying to help ourselves reset our way of thinking and taking in information. Because remember, our bodies don't know when our mind starts to think of something in a negative way or in a, oh my gosh way. Our bodies react as if it's happening right then and there, even if it's a memory that we're pulling up from when we were in seventh grade and Bobby Snyder said something to us that was so embarrassing in the hallway and everybody laughed at us and we can pretend we are right there. I mean, we could sweat and everything. And we even remember the feel of our braces on our teeth, right? Our body doesn't know it's not happening now. So it's going to react in that way. It's going to create those sensations as if we're in the hallway with Bobby Snyder saying something really mean to us. So that's the trick, is to help our body to get another reset and not have to go through those experiences again, because they don't know the difference. The body doesn't know. It goes by what the head is thinking. So we have to retrain how it is we think about things. Now, when we're doing that, we have to be aware of the words we're using, even in our head. I mean, sometimes the conversations I can have in a day, they can be long, first of all, and they can also possess a lot of triggers for me. And I think that's what's really important for many of us is to start changing up the words we use, even when we're thinking about stuff. I mean, sometimes, you think, oh, I won't say anything negative. I'll just think it. Well, even doing that is creating some wiring within ourselves. And that too is interfering with how it is that we can remain positive and to find that we're feeling happy about stuff. So the games we play, because I play them too, they aren't working. They're just that. They're the games that we're playing. So the trick is, again, how do we hit the reset button? Well, first of all, do we want to hit the reset button? Some of us might not be on that page yet. We might be thinking, nah, I don't need to do this. Well, if you really don't need to do this, then okay, we'll go on to the next step, or you can stop right here. But if there's a little nagging thought inside of you that is thinking, you know what, I do need to work on this a little bit, then let's pay attention. Let's start to look at what is it that we're doing that's putting ourselves in these spaces and places of negativity. And that's tricky too, because we got to start looking at the people we're hanging with. Ugh. We got to start looking at our social media influences. Oh my gosh, right? That's huge. There's a lot of stuff going on out there. What are we allowing ourselves to look at and read? How many times a day do we check our social media feeds, especially Twitter? I have learned that Twitter is not a great place for me to get my source of information. So, what are we doing and what are we willing to do to make some of those changes? Then we also have to start thinking about what is it that would truly make me feel better? Like, what are those important things that I want to really start focusing on? And then we're going to start making some action steps around them. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to turn to, in your workbook, this is where we're going to get going here. There's a page called What Makes Me Happy. So I'll let you turn to that. And remember, if you ever need to stop the video just to get your ducks in a row, just hit pause and then resume. So the action step for our happy quota, if you will, quotient, is we first need to figure out things that make us happy. So you'll see on the worksheet that it's a question, or it's a to do. Name 5 things that make you happy. Examples might be, for me, going for a walk with my dog and my husband. I love doing that. It might be trying out a new food, cooking. It might be when we're just quiet and resting. Whatever those 5 things are, Just list them out. Don't give a whole lot of thought to it, because I find when we think too much about something, we also can create barriers. So just put them down. It does no judging because you don't have to share. There's no sharing in this group, in this particular group. So once you have those 5 things down, then I want you to list out 5 things that get in the way of you being happy. What are those 5 things? Is it self-talk and self-awareness? Is it you hang with a lot of negative people and, sort of birds of a feather flock together? Is it your coping mechanism to just go negative and self-deprecating? What is it? Time, resources, what gets in your way? Then list those 5 things out. And again, just brainstorming, just put them down. Don't overthink this. Then the last step on that worksheet is we're going to ask you, what are you willing to eliminate with regards to those barriers? And then to create more happy. What are you willing to do? Because in the end, it's really just up to you. Nobody else can make you feel anything. Nobody else can give you feelings or take them away. That's something you get to decide. And there's really easy, sneezy ways to find yourself in situations where you can start to look at happy and create more happy. And some of it is just simply starting the day off with what makes me happy and what am I going to do today to get more of that. Okay, so that's your first task for today. The next video, we're going to start looking at effective ways to communicate and what gets in the way of us being our best effective communicators. So in the meantime, I just want you to just sit for a little bit with your happy worksheet, and just fill out those questions and do the best you can. There's no right or wrong answers here. And in fact, you may even change them. You may even have 10, not just 5. Whatever it is that works for you, remember, this is time that you are just taking to focus on yourself. This is time that we are dedicating to just really doing some of our best prioritizing for what we need. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.